Man, I am sick of packing a welder around this shop, plugging it in, sitting on the floor, sitting on a bench, who knows what else, wherever I can put the thing. It's time that we get something a little more permanent. Just a quick thrown together project. This is something you could do in a few hours time. Took me probably about 2 hours tonight, and I wasn't hitting it very hard to do it. If I was really busy and really kicking it, probably about 2 hours. Guys, check it out. Got a couple welders and tanks and all that good stuff on a cart. Let's go to the shop, check them out. Alright guys, a couple tools that I need to get. I got welders, they've been laying around. Every time I want to get it, I gotta drag it around. Well, I finally got tanks for it, so moving those with a welder, and so I need some kind of cart. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my stick and my multi-process on the same one. Basically, I've got right here, sizes, I'm gonna make it 20 by 16. So I'm gonna make a 20 by 16 cart. This is 12 wide, so that welder should fit right in one side of it. I'll make a spot for the tanks in the other side where I can tie them up. Then I'll put a shelf over top of that welder for my multi-process, and I can put some hanging stuff up and down it. All this is going to be out of some scrap steel I had laying out back. Matter of fact, most of it is angle iron that came from the trailer that I had built a while back. Get this done, and then I need to build a shaping stump, and I've got some ideas for that. It's going to be a little heavier. Getting to it, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to notch these corners. So when you deal with angle, there's a couple ways to notch the corner. You can always do a 45 on your cuts, and of course put it together in a 90. Another way, and quite a bit easier in all honesty, and strength wise is probably just as strong if not stronger, is you want to offset these, and you'll just take a little notch out right there. Then this corner and that one can go all the way together. You weld up the edge and it'll be all good and flat. You just weld on a little L. There you go. So you can see where I've got it marked out. Just cut that out. And what you do, this one then slides right down into it. Weld up your corners. Nice easy cut. You don't have to deal with trying to get everything else to line up perfect. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a chop saw and I'm gonna cut down to this edge on both of these. Then I'll probably take my 4.5 inch grinder and cut along that edge just to kind of give it a nice, good straight-ish. Straight-ish. Got a little bend in it I have to fix, but you see they now sit right next to each other. Clamp down again that corner. Yeah, right. So I got that. I'm going to make a box, and I'll be back this way. And you weld that edge. You've got enough play. Then you can put your square on it, square it up, and then tack it exactly square. Just like that. And that side's tacked in place. I'll remove the other one. There you go. So now it's a good square corner. Everything's nice and flat, everything's flushed up, a little bit of grinding, be a perfect pan. So I'm going to do this other side, drop it in, Make sure it's square. All right, just to put this into perspective, now I've got my tray welded up, probably more than good enough. Once I put the rollers on the bottom, I'll weld around the edges, or as far out as I can in the corners. That'll be all my strength. I'm gonna weld here, I got a solid weld here and a tack here. I'm not gonna do a whole lot of welding this thing solid. These uprights, I'm gonna go ahead and set both of these uprights in here. Just like so, and I'm gonna tack them, or I might just go ahead and weld a bead right along this corner, this edge right here. And I've got this piece that'll lay in here. Now, it's a little bit loose on the bottom, but the sides are pretty close. So I'll weld it up here and here, then I can flip this thing over and I'll get a piece of brass or whatever, and I'll fill that crack, fill in that void. And then I'm just about to a point where I'll be able to put the rollers on, set this thing on the ground, and kind of start seeing what it's going to look like. This thing is down and dirty. This isn't me trying to make it look good. This isn't going to look pretty. This is functional, and I can go back later and upgrade if I need to. What I need is a 7 1/4 back. So yep, that's just about perfect. And from that one to this one, it should be 12 and a little. Just a touch this way, like so. Yep, 7 1/4 right there, and a little over 12, about 12 1/4 there. So I've got a pretty big gap right here. This one's not far. Kind of surprised that it fell in there the way it did, but I got a piece of copper here. We'll put on the back side and see if we can't run a bead and fill up that gap. And you can see the copper will not stick, and it fills that right in. I wish I had a bigger piece of this, because then I could come down through here and just weld it up, right? It's got a little gap, not like the other. So, not too bad. That does me pretty good. That gets me about where I need to be. If I need to adjust it a little bit, do some fine tuning with a big freaking hammer, that's what I'll do. Welded that all up nice and solid. Didn't half check, but there it is, 7 1/4. There it is, 12 1/4. All right. Now I can put my stick welder at the bottom here, determine exactly where I need my uprights for this one. So I can set it on there, and I'll at least have something I can roll around with 2 tanks, 2 welders, and not being a mess. Well, it looks pretty ugly right now. Again, I'll come back to it when I get a chance. We're not that concerned. So let's get these rollers. What I think I'll do with these is I'll come right in here, put me a bead right there on the edge, and a bead right there to hold it in place, maybe one there. Couple straps to hold my tanks in place. Turn that welder around the other direction, and maybe add a couple spots for hangers, and there you go. 2 hours time, I've thrown something together that's useful. It's not pretty, but guess what? You know I'll be back to finish this thing up and probably do some changes, like add a top here that's going to be shaped like these 2 tanks, so that when I tighten them in here, they'll be nice and solid. Good hangers, a few add-ons, but for the most part, it's a solid start. And guys, honestly, that's probably all most people would need. Something like that. Throw your welders on it and go. A little scrap. A little bit of scrap, and all that now rolls around. Most expensive thing were the rollers on it. I'll look back and see how much they were. I think when I bought them, they were like 20 bucks. So I've got $20 invested here. Much better than paying the 150 or whatever it is for a cart, and then I wouldn't have room for my stick welder at the bottom. Hope you like it, guys. Check this out. Hit that subscribe button. More to come. Kicking this channel back off. I've been dormant for a little while, and it's time to start doing something again. There's things happening there.